I'm talking to Mary O'Connell, who is a talented person, who is, among other things, is a published author. Mary has published 2 books at this stage. One was her first book, A Community at Heart, which we might touch on now. And then her second book, which we're going to focus on today, is called Third Time Lucky. An intriguing title, Mary. And tell us, first of all, about Third Time Lucky. What brought you to write it, and what experiences did you have that led you to write the book?
Great, Patricia. Well, I'll tell you, first of all, I've always wanted to write a book. Everyone is told there's a book in them somewhere.
At least one.
So they say, write about what you know, okay? So the first book, as you mentioned, Community at Heart, I knew about that from working in the Diocese of Killaloe. And this one, Third Time Lucky, I knew about that because it's all about online dating.
And if I may say so,
yes,
not that you're not a most attractive person and all of that, but, online dating a little bit in later life, I think.
A little bit in later life, yeah. So, now, I did start, I suppose, about 10 years ago, first time.
Okay.
All right, so I would consider myself maybe not expert, but I'm well knowledgeable on online dating at this stage. So when I wanted to write the second book, I thought, okay, let's look at the things you know about online dating. And apart from that, I have so many friends that were in the same position as myself, and they were looking at online dating, but they were a bit afraid of it. And I was telling them all about my stories and my foray into the whole experience. And they were saying, you have to write that down. You really have to write those stories down.
So is it like a guide to online dating?
It is.
Brilliant.
Okay. So it is a guide to online dating from my experience with research thrown in.
Sure.
So it is all about putting your profile together. It's about the pros of online dating. It's about the cons of online dating. But what's really interesting, and will be most interesting for most readers, is the stories that are in there. So I have my own dating stories in there. Not all of them, because, if I put all of them in there, people would say, what was she up to?
Well, editorial control.
Oh, yes, there you go. Yes. So I suppose I've put the most interesting ones in there. And then I have a little section where I have some of my friends' online dating stories as well. And really putting the stories in there are just to show people that, yes, you're going to meet, the oddball. And some of us are oddballs ourselves. So you are going to meet every type of person when you're out and about. And it's to be prepared for that. I think that's what it is. And also it includes, for, as you so kindly put it, dating in later life. There's a lot of terminology in there that some of us would never have heard before, like ghosting or catfishing or future dating or fake dating.
Whoa.
These are all new terms.
They're certainly new to me. So would you give us an idea of, let's start with the positives.
Yes.
What are the pros of online dating in later life as you see them?
Well, as I saw them was, it opened up a whole new area for you. So my first entry into online dating was about 10 years ago. I had separated years before that, and I thought that, you need a few years to process being separated. I was married for 20 years, and I have 3 children. So you have to process all of that before you go online dating. And I did join the clubs, and I did go salsa dancing, and I did go to the pubs, but the pub culture wasn't for me, really. I do enjoy going out for a drink, but meeting someone at midnight after a few drinks wasn't an option. It wasn't an option. So I had to look at the online dating. And the first time I went on, it was a scary place to go. But I very soon found that it opened up, like a huge pro, is it opens up a whole new world. And if opens up your own counties around you. It opens up the world if you want to go abroad, but that wouldn't be for me. I needed somebody within the country at least. So I started quite slowly into checking it out. And very quickly, I put up my profile, and very quickly you get messages. So that's a negative in that you have to be very, very careful. But the pros are that you can meet some very interesting people, even if they're not for you. It gives you the chance also to look at other people's, in my instance, to look at the man's profile, and you can decide whether or not to meet them. You can get to know people, I think, very well online. Some people would say, yeah, well, you can get to know them if they're, being honest with their profile. But I found at my age, going into dating, online was the only place to go.
Very interesting. And what, for instance, if you decided to meet somebody and you were going out to meet somebody, what would your words of advice be about that situation?
Well, I would say, Patricia, buy the book, because it'll give you all the ideas in there. It'll give you all the ideas in there of what to do. But first of all, I always took time before I met somebody. I would message them online, but not too long. Because if you message for too long, you're building a picture of someone that you may not be meeting. The picture of the person that you build up, it's not their fault that you're building up that picture, but you could build a wrong picture. So I would say message 3 or 4 times. Then I would say, if you feel comfortable, swap phone numbers and speak to them before you meet, because you get a very good sense of somebody from speaking to them once or twice before you meet. And then go to the meeting. And when you're meeting them, put your best foot forward is what I would say. Go in as simple things. I always wore red or royal blue, something that gives you a bit of sense of feeling good yourself, and go out with your best foot forward. It's nerve-wracking. I won't lie. It is nerve-wracking in the beginning. But you know what? When you do it a few times, you get into it fairly quickly, and you realise that it's only a meeting, it's only a coffee. And I would always say, go for the coffee meeting first, and always have an out.
So it's like Susan Jeffers says, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Feel the fear and do it anyway. It's a great saying, and it's true. Just go for it, because it could open up a whole new door for you. It did for me. I mean, third time lucky. You asked me about the title.
Yes.
The title is not about the third person I met. Would have been nice if it had been that fast. No, it's about the third time I went online dating. So the first time I said, let's meet 10 people. On the law of averages, one of them has to be nice. One of them has to be decent. In fact, in general, most of them were nice. But I did meet somebody. We spent a couple of years together, but it was long distance, and it didn't work out for that reason, sure, that it was long distance. And anyway, I think looking back on it, it was he was my transition person, my transition into dating again. And then my second time going online dating, I took a few months out first and then went back to it. And I met a very nice gentleman from Galway. And that was, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, Patricia, He's Not That Into You. I learned after a few months that he wasn't that into me. So I thought, I don't want someone who's not that into me. I wanted to be with someone who was as into me as I was into them. So the third time online dating, I decided it was to stay as local as I could. And funnily enough, I know he won't mind me mentioning this, but I had seen a gentleman on the Killaloe side of the bridge who I thought, oh, he seems nice, but he had a moustache. And I didn't do moustaches. So I was very, very, very shallow of me, I know. But I thought, look, I'll message him. And I did. And he was polite, and he had manners, and he was funny, and he was very intelligent, and he seemed to be very kind from the messages. And we spoke on the phone, and I thought, oh, that's a really nice accent. So you can't change those things about a person, having manners, being kind, but you can change the moustache if you really want to, It wasn't something he wanted to do, and he didn't, because I don't see the moustache anymore, I see the person. And that's what online dating opened up for me. It was meeting somebody. He's the final chapter in the book, and we're leaving at that, the final chapter. And he's a really nice gentleman, and I was very, very lucky to meet him. And him, me, of course.
Well, needless to say, of course. That's so interesting, Mary, and thank you for sharing that with us. It's really nice and so interesting to know that, in fact, it's not so much about the physical side of looks and so on.
Exactly.
It's about meeting the person and finding kind of a fit in that person for you.
Well, I think also, Patricia, when you are looking and you're older, you are looking for something very different than what you were looking for when you were a younger person. Now you are looking for compatibility. It might sound insipid, but it's not. Being compatible with someone and liking the same things. I know there's this great saying where opposites attract, and maybe they do. But I don't want to be too opposite from somebody. It's nice to share, an evening meal. It's nice to share a bottle of wine. It's nice to go to the cinema. It's nice to go to theatre, the things that you like to do, So I think as you get older, you're more selective in who you want to meet.
And more discerning because you've had more experience.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I think we reflect a lot more on life at this age. So it's nice to have somebody you can have the conversation with, be attracted to, of course, that you need that. But there is so much more now than there was when I was younger. I was way more shallow back then.
Well, it's been fascinating talking to you today, Mary, and I want to thank you for sharing in such a frank way your experiences of later life online dating.
Thank you so much, Patricia.
I hope the story continues and that...
So do I.
that you have a very, very happy outcome from all the challenges and the excitement and the experience that's in the book. Just tell us again, the name of the book is Third Time Lucky.
It's Third Time Lucky at Table L2. So anyone who knows Ponte Vecchio will know that Table L2 looks out onto the street, and it's where I had most of my dates because that's where I felt comfortable. So I was Third Time Lucky at Table L2. The book is available in Ponte Vecchio, also in the Nina bookstore, the Ennis bookstore in Charlie Burns in Galway. And anyone who really wants it could email maryo'connellbooks@gmail.com.
Well, that sounds like you've really got something set up there. So interesting that in your first book you talked about community and church and quite a bit about family, because I've read quite a bit of that book. And in this one you've turned more to the, I suppose, sort of personal and individual experiences that you've had. So I'm really looking forward to seeing your third one. There's going to be another one soon.
It's on the way. Yeah, it's on the way.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, good for you. Continued success with your writing, Mary. And I hope that today brings your work to a wider audience and shares that experience in a fruitful way with lots of other people.
Thank you so much, Patricia. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.